Okay, how to change your brakes. Step 1. Loosen your lug nuts before you jack up your vehicle. That's, kind of the basic step 1 kind of thing. And they are really tight, obviously, for really good reasons. But I did use a breaker bar. Step 2 is to jack up vehicle using a really good jack that you kind of, to this point. And I guess I can squeeze in, use your jack stands, because no matter how much you trust this, it's a fail-safe, just in case the vehicle were to come down. You always want to use some type of secondary thing to help you be safe. So now the truck is off the ground, and this is why you don't want to, because it can spin, and it's really hard to get lug nuts off after it starts to spin. So, but they're loose enough, so I can go ahead and start with the next step. And then the rest you can just kind of twist off. Okay, now that the tire is pretty much insecure, it's insecure about itself and its feelings, I have to like boost it up a bit. So tire, I think you're all right. I think you're kind of cool. Next thing, since it's not really attached to anything, is you just kind of like hit the top or bottom. I usually just hit the top, and it'll kind of get it unpopped. So let me move that out of the way. Okay, now that the tire is out of the way, this is the caliper and bracket, and this bolt right here and this bolt right here is what I'll be taking off. They're really, really long bolts, so let me get this off. This wee guy is what I have to take it off. So, and they are really tight on there again, so I'll probably use like a little wrench to extend the handle a bit. Okay, now that the bolts are out, before you take the caliper head off, or before you take the caliper off, that right here, if I zoom in, right here, this is part of a piston. There's 2 of them, and that's what presses in the brakes, which are right here. So you kind of want to get a flat head and kind of get in there real quick, and then you want to depress them. Tell them about your emo stage in 2013. Really? Okay. But anyway, yeah, you just want to keep kind of pressing them back a little bit to get that pressure off of the brake so you don't damage anything. Okay, and then to the next one. Okay, there's 2 different sides. Either it's like this side where there's 2 of the same like lip under this that kind of grips into it, or it's this side, because these are part of the brakes, but then you have this right here. So I guess in this case, it's under this and over this, so I need to kind of pull out this way. So it came right out, and it is, it's still attached to things. There's the brake line, so you really don't need to mess with anything right there. So you just kind of lay it up and out of the way on the control arm right there, so it'll be fine. So here are the brake pads, and they should slide right out, but it might take a little bit to get them out. So let me go ahead and get the first one out. Wasn't too bad. Kind of took a little bit, but not too bad. And here is the other one, right here. It's already cockeyed. And, oh, came with a clip. This is the clip that comes with it, so it's going to get replaced too. You can see that's where the pistons lay up against the brake. Okay, there's the clip. So here are my old brake pads. And here are my new ones. Oh, shit. I got a little bit more on it. Okay, so here is my old clip, which will be replaced with the shiny new one. Ignore my fingernails. And they're really easy. You just kind of just gonna pull them out and wash the rotor, I guess. I usually have to hit these with a hammer to get them in or something. Maybe oh, maybe not. Last one I had to smack in. Press them in. There we go, because there's a little clip right there. I usually have to get in, but it looks like it's pretty well into place. It's coming up a little bit. Okay, now I'm just trying to press in the top clip. And the rotor keeps kind of getting in the way, but you can kind of tell it's not clipped in all the way. There we go. Is it? I can't see. Okay. I grabbed my brakes. Okay, I'm about to put my first one on, and here's a mistake that some people do, and I don't even know how they do it, but it happens, you know. Don't put your brakes on backwards. Make sure the pad, this thing, is touching the rotor, which is the shiny thing, right? We don't want to mess up both of them. Okay, one of the more annoying things that I've learned so far is that the rotor is kind of just hanging on here, so it does wibble and wobble when you're putting on the brakes. So trying to put these on and then this thing is moving back and forth, the brakes will fall on and off. So that part is a little bit of a pain, like that. So now I gotta push that on and the other brake falls off. That's what happens. But it's a learning curve. Got them back on, and this what I'm about to do is going to require two hands. These two pistons need to be pressed in all the way so they can go back even further in, so I can get it on here, because it is going to be a little bit of a pain. So let me see if I can get this thing back on. I'm using a C-clamp to press in from the inside, which was actually Bill's idea, so you know, it works though, so it does work. And then I'm just going to keep pressing it in until this goes all the way in. Don't let the caliper dangle, because it is still attached to the line and you don't want to damage anything. So right now I'm letting it sit on top of the rotor as I clamp the pistons in. To press both of them in. So that's what they look like. So I'm going to turn this around and see if I can't get this back on. Yeah. This thing was being too much of a pain in the butt, because every time I tried to put the caliper on, the rotor would fall and that would shake the brakes off. So I did something really, you know, need to be careful about, because you don't want to scratch your rotors. I C-clamped it. So we're going to see how this works. So in the end, the rotor got on my nerves enough to make me tighten it down, which is probably what I should have done in the first place. So I took one of these wrenches and I used it as like an extender maybe, because it's not going to tighten up right against the rotor, so it would have still wobbled enough to get on my nerves. So I used it in the middle, and then I tightened this on it to get this to stay still. Okay, but I did get it back on. After that it was fairly easy. Before that it was a pain. So now I just need to tighten the, put the bolts back on, tighten them. I already got my bolts back on. And there's little brakes inside my rusty little caliper. Okay, put my tire on, put my hubcap back on, and I'm about to start putting the lug nuts back on. For even pressure, I usually add them on in a star pattern. So I started with one, and then I come across here, 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 and here. And I usually just tighten them on first, like hand tighten them, and then I'll set the vehicle down, and then I will put them on with breaker bar. Before you lay your tire down, or before you set your vehicle down, you want to kind of jiggle the tire and see where they are loose a little bit. That's just hand tighten. I hand tightened them, and then I went over with my ratchet and to make sure they are fairly secure before I drop the vehicle, which they are pretty good, because if I try to go too tight, the tire will start to spin. So okay, now I just have to remove my tire jacks and release my lift. Okay, whenever I say my power steering is leaking, here is my power steering cooler. If you like see on both sides, come on, zoom in, there we go. Oh, that's about as good as it's gonna get. It's kind of wet, but that seems to be like a little bit of the problem. But here's the two hoses. Those two hoses are supposed to be dry. Okay, and if we just follow them, one goes up there to under the hood where you pour it in, the reservoir right there. And the other one, if you follow it, goes right here. It goes from one side to the other. It is messy, and I've been here for about 3 or 4 hours, I guess, and I've already started leaking on the floor. Dang it. Oh. What a sigh of relief. Here comes the mundane task of putting all the tools back that are not mine. So I have to separate them, but I'm pretty sure I think I only use like one of mine. So, yeah. I look dirty. Okay, and before you go anywhere, after you get done replacing your brakes, for the love of God, don't try to leave like I did last time and not press your brakes in several times. Don't forget to pump your brakes. That way your pistons can be pressed back against your brakes. Otherwise you're going to hit your gas and then try to stop, and you ain't going to stop. Okay, sorry, the alarm kept going off. So, yeah, so don't forget to pump your brakes several times after you crank your vehicle, and then just kind of slowly test them to see if they are working properly before you go on the road. Now I get to do the fun part. Woo. Heifer, I already gave you a treat, you soulless demon. Where are we going? You gotta go pee? You gotta go pee? Oh my gosh, you gotta go pee? Okay, let's go pee. Nom. Hurry, it's chilly outside. Don't forget to wipe. Flush when you're done.